Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, February 10th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today we recall two particular feasts. The first takes us to Malaga, Spain, and also it says near Bologna, Italy, and also a Mexican retablo painting. All of these are Our Lady of the Dove, or La Virgen de la Paloma, or Nuestra Señora de la Paloma, right? There's also a statue in St. Stephen's Church in Florida, right? So what is this exactly? Well, we're told that when the Pilgrim Virgin statue was touring Europe, 3 snow-white doves unexpectedly came as the procession passed through a tiny village. Now, nobody claimed these doves. Nobody said that they were their own, right? And they didn't seem to be lost. It seemed like they really just wanted to hang out with Our Lady. In fact, they settled at the feet of the statue of Our Lady, right? Soft white doves at home with Mary. So slowly but surely, this procession was going to Bologna, Italy, right? And oddly enough, these doves never left, right? I mean, they would leave sometimes for short flights, but they would never all leave at once. There was always at least one dove at Our Lady's feet. Now, when the procession neared the Bologna Cathedral, where the statue was to be enthroned, people said, well, what are the doves going to do, right? So, again, the statue was carried into her pedestal within the sanctuary. But what happened? Well, the doves, after everything settled down, the doves went back and they rested at the feet of Mary. So that this Our Lady of the Dove is recalled in other different places, just how Mary is soft and beautiful like a dove. Now we're going to head a little bit south to Rome, Italy, where we recall Madonna della Fiducia, right? Our Lady of Confidence, right? So Blessed Clara Isabella Fornari, who is the abbess of the Poor Clares in Todi, Italy, venerated a picture of Mary, Refuge of Sinners, which the artist Carlo Maratta was said to have given her, right? So we should know that Blessed Clara was the mother, like we said, but she's also a stigmatic mystic. And she reported that Mary herself had blessed the picture, right? And she would later write that Our Lady assured me that she would give a special tenderness and devotion towards her to everyone who contemplated this image, right? So after the nun passed away in 1744, the painting remained at the convent. But as its reputation for miracles grew, copies of it also circulated. There was a copy enshrined at the Pontifical Seminary in Rome under the title of Madonna della Fiducia, right? And students and faculty prayed to Our Lady of Confidence, Madonna della Fiducia, during an epidemic that spared them in 1838. And then also, in World War I, the phrase, "My mother, my confidence," spread from the seminary into wider Catholic usage, right? So the image itself is very, very beautiful. She holds the child Jesus in her arms, who looks like he's a great prince, right? And so we're told that the picture teaches us what the Holy Church has always instructed. Our Lord Jesus acts through Mary as through a channel, right? Conversions, favors, graces, they take place by means of and through the intercession of the Blessed Mother. We not only approach with confidence of a child in his mother to be certain that she will attend to our needs, right? So that's what we celebrate today, Our Lady of the Dove and also Our Lady of Confidence. So for today's reading from The Admirable Heart of Mary, we continue with Chapter 6, Goodness and Providence of God Mirrored in the Admirable Heart of Mary. If you recall, the whole point of this section is seeing God's perfections mirrored in Mary's Immaculate Heart. And so we have, again, God's providence and his goodness, but we also see that reflected in Mary and her goodness. Mary's heart is so filled with bounty that she readily grants whatever we ask of her. Saint Bernard says, "O Blessed Mary, whoever loves you honors God. Whoever serves you pleases God. Who invokes your holy name with a pure heart will infallibly receive the object of his petition." Who has ever invoked Mary without being heard? Says Pope Innocent III. The Venerable Abbot Blosius adds, "She rejects no one, but lends a favorable ear to the petitions of all." Heaven and earth would sooner perish than Mary refused pure help to such as invoke her seriously and with affection, reiterated Saint Bernard, adding, Let him be silent in the praise of thy mercy, O Blessed Virgin Mary, who, having invoked thee in his necessities, should remember not having received your help. Her heart is so good and merciful that she extends her kindness not only to the good, but also to the wicked, not only to the faithful, but to sinners as well. In this life, you are a help to the just and unjust, says Raymond Jourdain. You dost aid the just man and the sinner, the former by keeping him in the state of grace, wherefore the Church calls you the Mother of Grace, the latter by bringing them back to divine mercy, for which you are named the Mother of Mercy. Our Lady's heart is so kind and gentle that she helps not only those who implore her aid, but even the careless souls who neglect to invoke her. Listen again to Saint Bernard. Why should we marvel to see her stretching a helping hand to such as beseech her, if she assists even them who do not pray to her? The holy abbot Blosius has written, Mary spurns no one. To nobody does she refuse her aid. She comforts and relieves all who seek her assistance. She opens her bountiful heart to all who implore her intercession. She readily succors all those who have recourse to her charity, and by an excess of goodness, she often shows her kindness to persons who do not think of her and have no devotion, just gently and effectively drawing them to God by means of the graces she obtains on their behalf. Thus did divine bounty constitute Our Lady as a supreme gift to mankind, that all might have recourse without fear and with complete confidence. For today's Marian Meditation, taken from the book by Father Ildefonso Villar, we start meditation 36, which is entitled, again, the Magnificat, because we're going through and meditating on each of these sets of words that Mary said in reply to the greeting of Elizabeth. So the first meditation, He has done valiantly with the strength of his arm. Here our Blessed Lady is extolling the power of God, as shown forth especially in certain of his works. All his works are the fruit of his infinite power, but of them this omnipotence shines forth more clearly in some than in others. Mary would look up to the boundless heavens, would watch the countless stars so shining, so incalculable, so lively and swift in the midst of the harmony of creation. How the starry sky reflects as in a mirror the omnipotence of God. And what about the earth, with its plants and animals, with its valleys and hills, its seas and rivers? All these works of God would pass before her mind, and she would ask herself, is not this an achievement of the mighty arm of God? Who but he could have conceived and achieved the like? She would look at humanity, at the angels. She would contemplate the shining splendor of the heavenly court surrounding the throne of God. She would especially look at her own soul. Where could she see better the strength of the mighty arm of God than in the work achieved in her own heart, in her own most pure soul? Ponder over what all this means. God created all these wonders, as it were, without any effort, by just a mere word, by a mere wish. But to accomplish the work of the Incarnation, God had, so to speak, to display all his omnipotence, and to exert, as it were, all his power. When creating the world, he met no resistance, for all came from nothingness. The greater the resistance we meet in our work, the greater the effort required. In the case of creation, the resistance was nil, since there was nothing before the creation. But in the case of the Incarnation, it was not so. God had, so to speak, to exert his divinity. God had to exert violence over himself in order to reduce divinity to the smallness, to the nothingness of humanity, and to be enclosed in a human wrapping, and then be hidden away in the bosom of Mary. God had to perform a unique and never repeated operation, namely, that of choosing a woman and of making her his mother, to assemble in her all the marvels of the whole creation, to render her immaculate, virgin and mother at the same time. Does not this entail an immense strain on the mighty arm of God? So great was this effort that he, so to say, reached the limit of his power. God could make another 1,000 universes, create untold millions of beings, multitudes of angels, myriads of stars and skies, much more shining, much more beautiful than the present ones. But he could not achieve a work of greater grandeur than the Mother of God. Apply all this also to Holy Communion. Is not the Eucharist another effort of his mighty arm? Does it not exhaust the wisdom, the power, and even the love of God? Could even so powerful a God give you anything greater than he gives you in the Holy Eucharist?
Hello, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to our Marian podcast. In the spirit of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, we say to you that there is no greater delight than to spread the devotion of Our Lady. We hope you share these sentiments and encourage you greatly to share with a loved one. Know that you are always in our prayers, and we ask that you keep us in yours. God bless.